This entire chapter focused on trying to free Luffy and Zoro, and ultimately was a very good one because they're free. Hey, One Piece, chapter 363, Aqua Laguna. We got One Piece, chapter 363, Aqua Laguna.
Well, hello, my brothers and sisters of the Nerd Nation. I, as always, am Jim, here to bring you another review on the awesome and tidal wave-filled Aqua Laguna heavy tale of One Piece. Our last chapter saw us with really finally Nami discovering, with the help of Kokoro and, of course, Chimney, I believe his name is, a little kid or whatever it is, actually seeing Luffy down towards where the back alleys are, where the Aqua Laguna is coming to flood into and hit first, but seeing him in between the buildings. And then, of course, the chapter ended with Robin rushing off towards them, despite the warnings that were coming from Kokoro and everybody else. So that's how the chapter left off. That's right where the chapter picks up. And really, the entire chapter is devoted to just trying to free these two. We wind up seeing Chopper actually very quickly, too, winds up seeing somebody goes like, oh, look, a sea anemone. And what they're referring to is what it looks like, the shadow of the legs and the couple of swords that Zoro still has that are sticking out of, that are sticking out of this chimney. So Chopper obviously figures out that is Zoro. And also, too, several chapters ago when Chopper actually jumped out of the burning building in the Galley Lock Company and had, of course, Polly and Mr. Iceberg over his shoulders, he also had Zoro's, the cursed sword, Kitetsu the Third, in his mouth. And I believe I mentioned it, but if I didn't, whatever the case may be, it's now you know. So Zoro was minus one of his swords. But anyway, so the chapter goes back and forth between, Nami trying to make her way down to, Luffy, and she quickly does wind up making her way down to at least close enough to him, but she's still like a couple buildings across from it, and they show this wave on the horizon, boy, and this wave that's coming in, I mean, this is some shit right here. This is Aqua Laguna, from what they're saying. And they can see us, and this thing looks like something just straight out of like one of those like end of the world type movies, 2012 or Armageddon or whatever. I think there was The Day After Tomorrow, I think was another one. But anyway, just this huge, I mean, hundreds of foot high tidal wave, right? That's coming in, or a wave. And just absolutely insane looking. And as this is bearing down upon them, she goes and she actually is able to see Luffy, and she's yelling and screaming at the top of her lungs, Luffy, and finally, even though his head's turned the other way, he can hear her, And she winds up communicating to him. This is what I liked about this chapter, is that she communicates to him that Robin, they took Robin away, but that Robin actually was just trying to sacrifice herself for them. She's going to die. She's going to get herself killed, or have herself get killed, giving herself up, basically, right? To save us, And Luffy hears that, and he's like, so you mean, oh, really? So Robin was lying? Like, she's not really bad. She's not really against us? And now he's like, yeah, And it's this great heartfelt exchange between the two. The whole time that's going on, we go back and forth, but when we go back to Zoro sticking out of the chimney, Chopper winds up getting to him pretty quickly, but he can't get him out. He's trying to pull on him, he can't, to no avail. He can't get, Zoro's pretty good and stuck in there. So and that's the kind of comic relief part of it, because it's just funny. He's like, what should I do? And Zoro's like, how the hell should I know? His head's stuck in a frickin' chimney, right? And his upper body. So anyway, he winds up saying, he's like, do you have my Kitetsu? And this is where it comes into play. And he says, yeah, I grabbed it. How did you know? And he's like, I can just feel when that thing's around, there's something off about it. And that's the cursed sword, obviously, from way back when he got in chapter 97 or 98, somewhere in that neighborhood. So a few hundred chapters ago now, almost. Nonetheless, though, so he says, listen, hand me that sword, put it in my hand, blah, 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 And then it goes and it cuts back to, and then it actually goes and cuts back to, like, Paulie and all them, and some people are trying to go and save them, and he's like, don't even throw away your lives, okay? They know what they're doing over here. They think they know what they're doing. If anybody winds up going in there, if need be, kind of on a need-to-do basis, it'll be me, not you. Otherwise, you're just risking your lives needlessly and throwing it away, and that's when they show this Aqua Laguna, boom, right on top of them, right? I mean, just very imposing, and the way it's drawn just, makes you think, like, holy shit, this whole city's going to get swallowed up by this thing. And water, for those of you that might think, well, it's just a wave, it's going to hit, it'll be fine. Water is such a powerful thing, man, that a water, like a strong enough tidal wave or what have you that comes through from like a hurricane or something like that, it can wipe out just about anything that's built. Buildings, it doesn't matter if it's concrete, cinder block, reinforced steel. Water is very, very powerful when it gets moving in one direction or another, or is swirling around and what have you, or coming up like this. So it's destructive, that's for sure. That's one thing I do realize and know about. But anyway, so we wind up getting, I thought this was really cool. Towards the end of the chapter, they're looking, everybody's looking down and kind of seeing from their view, and all of a sudden you go and you see these buildings, and you see, and then all of a sudden you see Luffy actually goes and finds the strength to push these buildings apart, and everybody's like, oh, they're ruining that part of town, destroying that part of town. Luffy's just trying to, of course, get the buildings apart, but by doing this to get himself out, he's literally pushing 2 buildings apart off of their foundations, right? And then goes and winds up, stretching out, shooting himself over to Nami, grabbing her, and then getting his, now I got you, let's get the hell out of here, right? And I'm thinking, damn, motherfucker just pushed 2 buildings, Then it goes over to Zoro, and it shows him, and he's been given the sword now for the Katetsu and everything like that. And he's like, 1 sword style, 36-pound phoenix, So he winds up going and doing that move, just splits the chimney right down the middle, and obviously pops him and frees him and whatnot. And the wave's like right here. The wave is just bearing down on them, Chopper goes and he's just like, goes, I think takes one of his rumble balls or whatever, and then he's just like, jumping boost, and he grabs Zoro and just boom, he jumps the hell out of there. So they both wind up kind of converging at the same spot on this bridge, and they wind up saying, oh, the bridge, the so-and-so bridge, they'll be fine. I think that's what they say. Here we go. They made it to the Great Bridge. There's no way the water will reach that far. They made it. You guys are awesome. Way to go, Straw Hat. And you've got them just trying to catch their breath on there, and what have you. And then all of a sudden, boom, this bridge is getting destroyed. This Aqua Laguna is the most hardcore one that's ever come through in the history of Aqua Lagunas, apparently. So shit is not looking good. That's where the chapter leaves off. And man, really intense stuff, really good stuff. For me, though, the chest-beating moment of the chapter that was just had me going, and I'd like to know, obviously, what your thoughts are on it for my chapter question is, what are your thoughts on what Luffy did as far as just straight up pushing 2 buildings apart, number 1? But the second part to that question is, if Luffy could have done that the whole time, why didn't he? Or was it the fact that he cares so much for his crew that when Nami came and was yelling to him, no, and Robin's in trouble, and she's actually this and that he just went, it was like that stuff, man, that you hear about when, a mother goes and picks up the back end of a car or something like that to save her child. Was it one of those, like, he just went and muscled up and put it up, just dialed it up to 11 because he knew that now I got something more to fight for, something bigger to fight for. So was that where he came, what are your thoughts on where he pulled that strength from, I guess? That's my chapter question. To me, it seems obvious that it was because of the revelation that Robin was actually lying, that she's not against him, that she needs help. But, maybe I'm missing something, or again, opinions may differ and vary as they should, because mine is not the be-all, end-all. It's only one point of view. So let me know what your answer is to that kind of 2-partish, ass-backward-ish question in the comments down below. Feel free to hit the thumbs up, the like button if you should think that I deserve it, and subscribe if you haven't done so already. We will look forward to catching all of you in the next one, nation.
And remember to follow me on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and my other channel, please.